In this video, you will learn about commingling inventory service by Amazon, which is useful for Amazon sellers selling products which are already existing on the platform. And if you are sharing the same product with other sellers on the listing, then this service can be really useful to reach more customers. My guest today will be Alex from SimplyWhat. They help Amazon sellers with tax compliant in European marketplaces, Canada, and few more countries. You will find the link to SimplyWhat website below in the description. And if you enjoy this video at any time, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello, Alex. It's nice to have you back. And today we'll talk about commingled inventory. And before we do that, please introduce yourself and tell us how SimplyWhat helps Amazon sellers.
Yeah, perfect. I'm really excited to be here. And today, like you mentioned, we're going to be talking about commingled inventory. But my name is Alex Wyatt. I work at Simply VAT. We help e-commerce sellers get VAT registered and comply locally in whichever EU member state, Canada, Australia that you're trying to expand into, and we can help you get there.
Perfect. And I know you have some slides about commingled inventory. I never heard this term before, so let's jump in and learn.
Perfect. So actually, commingling has been around within Amazon. I don't even know if the term commingling was invented by Amazon. It may have been. It's not a tax term, that's for sure. And so this has actually been around for a few years now. But we do have, some of our clients that do use commingling, and I want to make sure that everybody knows what it is, because it is one of those quick tick of a box kind of exercises where if you do that, then you enable yourself onto this, and you need to know essentially what it is. So commingling. So commingled inventory on Amazon essentially is where your goods in your inventory are identified by the manufacturer's barcodes, and they can be commingled with the exact same goods from other sellers using those exact same manufacturer barcodes for those goods. So essentially, if you're selling the same sort of product as somebody else, and you have the same barcodes, Amazon can send the exact same good from another seller for faster delivery from your listing. What happens here? So the seller will sell an item to a customer as usual through your listings on Amazon. The seller gets a credit for the sale, because Amazon exchanges that exact item between the sellers to fulfill the order. So this allows for the faster delivery and strategic kind of placement of inventory, and commingled inventory is not compatible with the call-off stock scheme. So if you listened to our other video on call-off stock, these are not the same schemes. You cannot use commingling and call-off stock at the same time. If you haven't listened to our video, go back onto Augustus's channel on OrangeClick and make sure you watch call-off stock, because that might be a better scheme for you. So let's look at how commingling works for Amazon sellers. So all commingling transactions are B2B transactions. So these are never going to be B2C. Essentially, these transactions happen between two sellers on Amazon. I like to think of it as kind of like a drop shipping type model, but we'll go into a little bit more detail in a minute. So a seller who cannot fulfill their orders with their own inventory purchases the product from another seller. So we call that a commingling buy. So you're making that B2B purchase from another seller on Amazon, from their stock, from their supply, from your listing though. So the seller supplying the product makes a B2B supply. We call that a commingling sell to the other seller who has essentially sold the product on Amazon. The sellers are not actively selling the products to each other, but are responsible for the VAT reporting. So essentially, Amazon is just saying, we're taking this inventory and moving it to this customer on behalf of this other merchant, but you guys need to actually declare the taxable transactions on your reporting. And the big thing with the commingling scheme is that you must be VAT registered in each of the countries where you're using commingling. So let's talk about this a little bit further. So commingling is you are going to be VAT registered maybe in multiple, maybe the Pan-EU scheme, multiple different EU member states. Maybe your products have sold out in, let's say in Germany, they've sold out, and all of your products are now in other EU member states. However, you have a barcode that is the exact same as another seller. Maybe you're selling something very generic, like hand soap or tape, for example. That's all I can think of on the top of my head. So you are selling the exact same item, and the barcodes are the exact same. So a customer actually goes onto Amazon on Amazon.de and purchases your roll of tape on Amazon.de. You don't have any inventory in Amazon German fulfillment centers, but Amazon has noticed that actually another seller of the exact same barcode has a roll of tape in their fulfillment center that is available to go straight to the customer in Germany. Essentially, what's going to happen is that a B2B transaction is going to happen between you as the seller and the other seller that has the item, and then you are going to make a sale to the end customer. So even though it's your listing, you are purchasing a product from somebody else and then selling that on to the end consumer. So Amazon is not involved in this at all. This is just a B2B transaction between you and another merchant, and then the goods are going on to the end customer, and this allows for faster delivery for the customers so that they can get their goods much faster than maybe if your stock was held in another EU member state. Now, the reason why you need multiple VAT registrations or wherever you're using the commingling is because you essentially buy the goods within Germany. So you're making a B2B transaction within Germany between the seller that you're purchasing the roll of tape from. And then what happens is you then make a taxable transaction within Germany from the stock, that the roll of tape that was sat in a German fulfillment center, to a German customer. That means that you then have to declare that as a local transaction within Germany. So you charge German VAT on that sale of your goods, and that then goes to the customer, and you report that on your local German return. So that is why you need multiple VAT registrations, because you could have goods coming from any member state where you're opting into commingling, and you could be making a purchase and a local supply within a specific member state, which would trigger that VAT obligation, and that means you need that VAT number. So if you're going to sign up to commingling and you maybe have a more generic product that's not under your own brand, you could use this scheme, but you need to make sure that you have multiple VAT registrations in place in order to use it. So I hope I've demystified the commingled inventory, but I'm happy to help answer any questions that you might have, Augustus.
By the way, if you enjoy this content, don't forget to like and subscribe this video. I'm assuming that commingling is not so usual for private label sellers, right?
Correct. Yeah. So if you have a very distinct brand, it's very unlikely that somebody else is going to have that same product as you. But this will be for items that are more general, or maybe multiple sellers have the same license of a product, and you're selling the same things, but you're licensing them. It could be something like that as well. Yeah.
All right. So I have seen these listings where, let's say, it's a Lego box for children, and there are maybe 10 different sellers selling that. Mm-hmm. I can imagine this is where it can happen, but I didn't understand, is it happening automatically, or the seller, if they don't have a stock, have to check if another seller has it?
So this happens automatically if you're enrolled onto the commingled inventory scheme. So you need to enroll within Seller Central, but then it will happen automatically. So if someone comes onto your listing and they purchase from you, the stock can come from somebody else, but they would be purchasing from you. So Amazon would do all of this in the background if you're enrolled onto the scheme, but it essentially means that you still want your listings to be top notch. You want to be beating out your competitors, but you just make a transaction between the other seller to purchase the goods off of them to then sell it on to the end consumer from there.
All right, perfect. So I can assume this is the situation which you heard from sellers you're serving as a SimplyVAT, and that's why you're sharing. So if people need help with VAT, they do commingling or any other kind of selling on Amazon, you're ready to help, right?
Correct. Yeah. If you have any questions, there's a lot of different schemes out there available to sellers. And I think the education is the best thing, because you might tick something and not realize the implications of it. So it's best just to ask the questions and make sure you're handling it correctly. So yes, we can help with all of that. And you can reach me at alex@simplyvat.com and just mention Orange Click that you found us through a video, and you will get a special discount on your registration.
All right. Thank you very much, Alex, and good luck in your business. Bye-bye. I hope this video was useful. And if you need help with being tax compliant in European marketplaces, in Canada, and a few more countries, you will find the link below in the description to SimplyVAT website. Contact them, mention Orange Click, mention this video, and get a small discount for their services. And now I would like to invite you to watch other video with Alex, where she talks about European taxes and what you need to do to know if you want to sell your Amazon products in Europe.